I want to get back into some conversation about not just the news of the day yesterday, the June 1st news in the NFL, but I am particularly interested in the veteran wide receiver market, where there are still quite a few names that you are very aware of, and a lot of differing opinions about what the Ravens' need is in that department. This man, one of our all-time favorites, former Ravens tight end. You know him from the We Bleed Purple podcast. He is our buddy Dan Wilcox, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Dan, what's going on, brother? How are you, my friends?
I'm great, my man. I'm great. How are you guys today?
Everything is good, man. What's going on in your life? Get me caught up, man. What's up with you? What have you been doing? How's your family? The whole deal. Oh, did we lose Dan? Dan, did you somehow
Can you hear
mute?
me?
Oh, we got you back now. Yeah, we
Can you
got
hear me?
Yep, you're there.
Yeah, I've been good. It's been a whirlwind this summer, man. I lost my dad a couple of weeks ago. I had to bury
Oh,
him, so
Dan, I'm
that
so
was
sorry,
huge.
brother.
Yeah, my boys lost their grandfather, so he was a huge Ravens fan, of course, because his son played there in Baltimore. So, we still haven't had a chance to start going through all this stuff and stuff like that. But on a greater note, man, my oldest son Tristan is he got invited to the MLB draft league, so he's playing baseball in Ohio for the next 36 days. And he got allocated by 5 teams. The Atlanta Braves is one of those teams. The Arizona Diamondbacks, the Minnesota Twins. 5 teams invited him to come play in the MLB draft league. So if it goes well for this kid, or when it goes well for this kid, he could possibly get drafted at the end of this thing. So
Man.
it's awesome for him. And then my youngest kid, Julian, he just finished up his freshman year of high school. Number one band in the state of Georgia, number one band in the actual world. Competed, won state this year in band, and then went to Ohio to Dayton University to compete against 90 other bands from all over the country, all over the world, actually, not just the United States, but all over the world. Bands coming from Australia, everybody. And Julian Band came in as number one in the world, and by an outstanding record of 98.5, which is like the highest they've had in like over 16, 17 years. So
Listen to like when somebody asks me, "Hey, what's going on with your kids?" My answer is they're not currently concussed, and so I call it a win. Dan's got baseball
yeah.
players getting drafted, and
Yeah.
you weren't a musician, were you? Were you in the band at all when you were a
Hey
younger man?
man, my claim to fame is I played the violin when I was little.
Hey,
So
that's a heck of a
yeah,
skill. That's a
I
cool
mean,
skill.
I learned how to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, then I tapped out.
I gave the clarinet the old college try when I was a young man. Then I said, I don't think this is going to
Yeah,
be for me. I
for
don't
sure,
think this one's.
100%.
And Dan, it really simply came down to I didn't sense that young ladies were impressed by the fact that you could play the clarinet, and so I said
Yeah,
maybe
that's kind of how I felt about that violin too.
maybe I'm going to give the piano a try, see how that works out
Right,
for me.
100%.
Dan, we've been talking a lot recently. Jalen Hawkins was on with us last week, who, of course, played with Stefon Diggs in New England, and he
Hmm.
was campaigning for Stefon Diggs to be a Baltimore Raven. And it's really interesting because I feel like before you even get into the names that are there, there's this sort of seismic debate between Ravens fans about whether or not the Ravens should even be in the market for a veteran wide receiver right now. And there's a lot of people that are bullish about the
Hmm.
Ravens' two rookies and Jacoby Lane and Elijah Surratt, and you want them to have opportunities. And we've seen Tez Walker, whenever he's had a chance, do nothing but make plays. He's still, only had 11 career targets through 2 seasons, but he's been a playmaker. Where are you with the Ravens' need for any additional pass catching help versus committing to their young guys, their rookies, and saying we have the group of guys we need to try to go win a Super Bowl?
I think we're stacked at the receiver room right now. I think they did a phenomenal job of recruiting, drafting, picking up guys, and just challenging ourselves to try to be better and make the roster better. When we lost Isaiah Likely, I was freaking. I was upset. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
I was pissed about that. And then of course Pat Ricard leaving, I was upset about that move as well. When I look at who we have right now, we have some young guys. I mean, people still forget about LeJontay Wester, quite a bit too for some reason. And I don't know if I like the kid so much because he was wearing 83 last year. I know he changed his number this year, but um, the fact that he came in wearing 83, I think, made me kind of like him even more. But
Understandable.
at the same time, I
You know,
watched him in
Drew's
college.
still furious about that, though. He believes that the number 83 should have been retired, of course.
I appreciate it, Drew. Thank you, bro. Always looking out.
um,
I feel like we're stacked in the receiver room, but I also do feel like this will be a perfect time to grab Stefon Diggs, and I think he would be the perfect fit for us right now. And let me tell you why I'm saying I think he
okay.
would be a perfect fit, Glenn. Uh, I feel that Stefon has something to prove to the world right now. I think last year was a life-altering experience for him with the court case and this woman accusing him of battery and all the things that she did. Um, I feel like he wants to redeem himself, and there's no better way for a player to redeem himself by being the best player that he's ever been. So I think whoever gets him this year will get a different caliber player of him. And I've been burnt by women before. I'm sure we all have. We all been hurt by women at some point in time in our life. What usually happens is you don't have anything to do with their ass for a while. You need a break from them. So I think about 6 to 8 months off from women and just focusing on football would do him some good. And I would love for that to be the city of Baltimore for him to do it in. I think he would be a great addition to what we already have. And bringing a veteran wide receiver in with a crazy work ethic, which I know Stefon has, I think it could be very good for some of these younger guys that we have. And he's also on a mission to try to do things the right way inside of his life. And a lot of times when these type of tragic incidents happens, you kind of go back to God a little bit and refocus yourself and recenter yourself around God. And I think him coming in the locker room right now will probably be exactly what we need and probably exactly what he needs. He went to a Super Bowl last year, so he know what it takes to get there. And I think because he didn't win, he'll be even twice as hungry to go get it again.
Do you worry at all about the idea that Stefon Diggs might not like the idea of being like the third guy? And I don't know that he even would be, right? It might very well
Right.
be that, like, with a new offensive coordinator and a new head coach, that this group says, he's Stefon Diggs, man. We're going to throw him the ball a billion times. I don't know. But
Yeah.
obviously, once
I
upon a
wouldn't do
time when
that.
he was in Minnesota, he wanted to
Yeah.
be somewhere where he could get even more of the share because he was splitting that top share with Adam Thielen. Got that in Buffalo. Do you worry at all about first-year head coach, first-year play
No.
caller with someone that is a sort of alpha personality at that position?
No, I don't worry at all. I think I would have worried about that before this incident happened, right? The incident changes everything. Like it humbles you. It brings you back down. It lets you know that you're not invincible. And a lot of times we get into spaces where we, even as physical athletes, where we feel like we're actually like immortal. Like we feel like we're Superman. We're until that injury comes that kind of humbles you. So this is kind of like an emotional injury that he had. And this emotional injury may be exactly what he need to kind of humble that and keep that mindset from being where he has to be the number one guy. And I think he'll come in and just take whatever he get at this point and just try to redeem himself. Yeah, he's going to work hard and he's going to shoot. He's going to do everything he can to be the number one guy. And if he doesn't do that, then why would you bring him in? Why would you bring in a receiver that you don't think could possibly be a number one at this point? Yeah, you got Zay Flowers. Yeah, you got Walker. Yeah, you want to draft a couple of guys that look like they're going to be studs. Yes, you got Bateman. You got a bunch of options still. We had a ton of options last year and didn't know what to do with it. But I think with this Jesse Mentor squad, what you will see is a lot of times the best player will absolutely play. That wasn't always the case with Harbaugh. I mean, hell, Falele was not the best player last year. He started every freaking game for us last year. And there's no way that he was the best player we had on the offensive line to play that guard position, and he still started every single game. That normally doesn't happen in the NFL where the best player doesn't play unless there's a lot of freaking money tied up into the guy that's in front. And they got to get their money out of him, and they just prepping the young guy for the next year. That wasn't the case with Harbaugh. It was almost just favoritism type stuff that was going on. So I think right now, if you bring in a guy like Stefon Diggs, I think he would be humble enough, hungry enough, and he would challenge all the rest of those receivers to go even harder because he's coming for that number one spot. And I think that's what you need, some healthy competition. And he might help sharpen some of the tools that Zay has as well.
He's Dan Wilcox. He's with us here on Glenn Clark Radio. Dan, there's other guys, right? Deebo Samuel is still out there. The one that I can't shake, man, because I'm just convinced that this dude, I know he's 34, but I am convinced that he maybe at 50 could still have a 1,000-yard receiving season, is Keenan Allen. Like, I can't shake it, and what maybe he would offer even still as a red zone threat if he's not the Keenan Allen of 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
Is it sort of like Stefon Diggs or bust to you, or is it, hey, I prefer Diggs, but I'd also be interested in maybe one of these other guys?
I haven't truly seen the offense, so I'm not 100% sure, Glenn. I would need to see the offense more to kind of say who would be a great fit, but you do need bigger receivers no matter what the situation no matter what the situation is. Even if you brought a guy like Keenan Allen in and put him in the red zone situations only, or short, third and short, or third and long passing situations, and then also jump ball situations, I think he could be a great guy to be able to have on your roster. As far as being explosive and just making big plays down the field, blowing by guys, I don't think he's that guy no more.
Right. Right. And I don't think he is either, but man,
Yeah.
somehow he's just always productive. He's just
Yeah.
always productive. We started to
Yeah.
write off Keenan
It's,
Allen
it's
like 5 years ago.
right. Right. I mean, even Debo, like Debo is a
Yeah.
stud, but it's like, how does he fit in when you got a guy like Zay? That could be your quick slot, quick slant, screen receiver. You got a guy that just you already could do screens and stuff with. So if you bring Debo in, now he's competing for those screens with Zay. And it's like how much sense does that make to bring another guy in that'll be maybe tougher than Zay, but Zay is so shifty and so quick that he could take everything he touched to the house as well. So why do you spend that type of money to bring a Debo in when you got a guy like a Zay Flowers? Unless you plan on making he gonna take a huge pay cut and just kind of back up Zay in some sort of way.
Yeah, I guess you could say you could hand the ball off to him, but they got a guy they want to
I
hand the ball
mean,
off to a billion
a guy,
times. So
a guy.
I don't think.
Do we have a guy? Glenn,
There's a guy. There's a
yeah.
guy.
Not only did you got a guy, but you went and got his little brother, his twin brother. You know what I'm saying? So you go and draft a guy that looks almost identical to him. You see 22 and 23 next to each other. You're like, man, what the world is the Ravens doing right now? They're trying to put together the biggest backfield in the world. So I mean, not only do you got a guy, you still got a Justice Hill back there too, and you got some other guys you just brought in that are young that could possibly make some movements. And they seem to really like, Rashid Ali last year. He played a lot, an awful lot. So now that the Harbaugh and company is gone, it was going to be kind of interesting to see kind of how the dynamics of the backfield play transitions.
You mentioned that your disappointment in losing Isaiah Likely, and look, everyone here loved Isaiah Likely, and we
Correct.
all believed Isaiah Likely was on, the precipice of stardom, sort of at every moment in his Ravens career. They go with two rookies, and again, like even lower picks than the wide receivers we were just talking about, but two guys in Hibner and Cuevas who are intriguing. This is an organization that has done nothing but find good tight ends throughout the history of Ozzie Newsome and into Eric DaCosta. Are you confident in the group of guys? Are you confident that Mark Andrews is better than what we saw a year ago, that was more about his health, Lamar's health? How are you feeling about that room on the whole without Isaiah Likely?
Man, I was upset as hell when they let Isaiah go. But honestly, I felt like if it had to come down to me between Isaiah and Mark, I would have went with Isaiah because I feel like Isaiah is the future. If I'm gonna sign a long-term deal, I'm gonna give it to Isaiah. Mark, it's like you almost just paying homage to how great he's been in the organization. But this league has always been so cutthroat. So usually the older guys are the ones that get the boot. Now I love the fact that the Ravens paid homage and they kept Mark because I love Mark. I think Mark's a phenomenal tight end. But this league is notoriously known for always going for youth. So when they let Isaiah go, I thought it was kind of crazy that they signed Mark to such a big deal. I would have been trying to get Mark I would have been trying to keep Mark, but I would have also been trying to keep Isaiah. I would have tried to figure out to put Isaiah more in that starting role and let Mark kind of be that number two guy so that he finishes as a Baltimore Raven if he was okay with that. If he wasn't okay with that, then I had to come down to terms with, who do I want here most? And do you get rid of your all-time leading receiver, touchdown leader, yards leader at tight end? Do you really get rid of that guy? So I kind of respect Eric for doing what he did. At the same time, it still hurt my feelings that we didn't keep Isaiah.
It's tough, right? Like
Yeah.
it's tough because you can also understand,
Yeah.
like you didn't want to run the risk of losing both of them, right? Like
Right.
if you're struggling to get
100%.
Isaiah signed, then you're like, hey man, we gotta sign Mark. Like we can't go into this with both of our top tight ends ultimately being at risk of departing. So I get the spot they were in. It's disappointing, but no, nobody was happy about the idea of losing Isaiah Likely whatsoever.
What they did, Glenn, by going to get the other two tight ends, the Cuevas and the Hipner kid, like that's exactly what you're supposed to do. So I think they did a phenomenal job as, you know, saying, okay, we lost them. We lost them. The cap is what the cap is. This what we're gonna do to fix it. We're gonna go get two really dynamic tight ends to come in and replace that one super dynamic tight end that we had. The two of those guys together will hopefully be able to be able to accomplish what Isaiah was accomplishing for us. And I think that was very smart by the Baltimore Ravens. And they not only did they get one guy, but they got two guys. And I think both of those guys were steals in the tight end realm. And I think they'll do very well for Baltimore for years to come.
I'm going to ask you a question that there isn't a correct answer to, but I just want to have fun with it anyway.
Okay.
If all positions were made equal, right? If we didn't
Mm-hmm.
immediately say, well, one's a quarterback, and so obviously that's the answer. If all positions were made equal and you just judged by what they do, who's been the best player in the AFC North for the last decade, Lamar Jackson or Myles Garrett?
Myles Garrett, hands down. Myles Garrett's been absolutely a game breaker in every single way, every single sense. I don't think he's ever really truly been hurt. I think he had that one experience, that one issue with the snatching of the helmet or something, like way back when.
Yeah, the Steelers thing, right?
Yeah, I think that was the only thing he had that kind of frowned upon. Lamar has been such a dynamic, such a phenomenal player. And to be honest with you, Lamar should have 3
Of
MVPs.
course, of
And
course.
and it's kind of sickening to think that he hasn't had it. But the way Myles Garrett has just absolutely ravished the absolute, he's taken advantage of everything he could take advantage of, playing on absolutely the worst team and the worst franchise in the history of the NFL. You got to give him some props to even have the mojo, the mindset, the attitude, the gumption, everything to be able to do what he's done. And Lamar has been arguably in probably one of the best franchises in the history of the NFL ever since he's been here. So it's kind of easy to kind of jump on that and just ride it till the wheels fall off. But to play when you know you're going to lose every single game and you got to play a perfect game every single week in and week out to even have a chance of winning, is crazy. You know that, like, and that's what Myles Garrett has to do every year in Cleveland, knowing they wasn't going to support you, knowing they wasn't going to put a supporting cast around you. They've done everything and they can in Baltimore to try to support Lamar in every way possible. Firing coaches, bringing in players, bringing in receivers, bringing in tight ends, bringing in running backs, bringing in O linemen, bringing in great defenses, bringing in defensive minds, everything they could do to help him out. It ain't always worked in his favor. You know, Lamar had shit against him a lot, but at the same time, the Ravens have absolutely attempted to make things right. All the Cleveland Browns have done is pay Myles Garrett. They didn't do anything to help him out at all.
That's fact. All of that is a fact. And by the way, I'm with you. And that's with no disrespect to Lamar Jackson at all.
None
It's
at
just
all.
a statement about
None
the
at all.
greatness and the dominance of Myles Garrett. I'm in a weird spot where I get it from the Browns, right? Like, you're not winning with them, and I really do like Jared Verse a lot. Like, I think he's a really good player. He's not Myles Garrett because no one is, but I think he's a really good player. I get where they're coming from. I don't know that they had to trade him. Like, if you got to hope that at some point you find a quarterback, but it is weird still where, like, when you're trading Myles Garrett, there's a part of you that wants to say, man, if it's for anything less than like 5 first-round picks, was it really worth? Like, this is Myles Garrett that we're talking. Can you recoup value for Myles Garrett?
No, I think they did a phenomenal job. What they got back and replaced for Myles is phenomenal. I think it may help Cleveland. They seem to be trending in the right direction right now. They are in a very tough situation with the quarterback situation still, with Shador there and Deshaun Watson there. You've given so much money to Deshaun. You almost want to see him play again just because of that. Give him at least one more chance, like he hasn't had enough already. But I think Shador is the future of Cleveland. They need to let the kid play. But Cleveland has been notoriously known for just making
They'll
making
probably
the best
screw it
decisions.
up, Dan. If I had to guess, they will probably, whatever it is, they'll probably screw it up. They're really good at that.
Yeah, and I'm fine with them screwing it up. As long as they keep screwing it up, we can keep winning games every time.
As a broadcaster, we've been talking about it. I keep saying, like, well, you have to hope if you're the Browns that you find a quarterback and you create. And I'm like, well, I don't have to hope that. I can hope they just continue to be the Browns eternally.
Keep fumbling the damn ball
forever.
Yeah, absolutely,
forever. They continue to be that.
Yep.
And you want to remind everybody about the podcast, brother?
Absolutely. We filmed the We Bleed Purple podcast. It's currently on YouTube, Facebook, all platforms, and IG. You can always catch clips and stuff, but the main page is on YouTube. We Bleed Purple. We would love for you guys to tune in anytime you want. It's me and my co-host Matt Trigger. We'll actually be shooting an episode tomorrow night, and it's always live, so you guys could tune in and ask live questions and all. So, Glenn, I appreciate you giving me a chance to shout out the show. Man, I can't wait to see the Ravens get this thing crunk up this year, man. I'm so excited for the season. Mentor, I love him. Can't wait to see what he's going to do with this team.
We'll be talking to you, brother. Always
For
appreciate you, man. Best to
For
you,
sure.
your family. Thank you as always, and continued thoughts, man. I went through when my wife's father passed away, man. I've done a lot of things in my life, but having to tell my kids that their grandfather—that's the single most difficult thing I've ever been through. But thoughts and prayers with you, your family, man, and always appreciate you. Love you, dude.
Thank you so much, Glenn. I appreciate you guys. Tell Drew I said what's up.
Will do, man. Thank you, buddy.
All right.